I'm so excited to be able to do this video. I've been thinking about it and talking about it for doing this video for a while now, so let's get into it. I'm going to show you how to make a wet felted scarf today. Wet felting has become one of my favorite fiber arts as of late, so I think probably my favorite things about it is you can do a variety of techniques and a variety of different materials and get a really cool looking scarf or accessory or whatever in a very short amount of time. And if you know what you're doing and have a couple little tips and tricks, it won't take you too much effort either. There is, now, okay, be prepared. There is a little bit of a workout involved in this. However, with some of the tips that I've discovered, I've been able to cut that down just a little bit. But your arms might be a little bit tired when you're done with it. So let's get into a couple things. Now, I have some materials in front of me. Now, what I did for you guys is I put together a kit. So all of these things are available probably at your local stores or whatever, but in case you guys want to get started right away and you don't want to have to try and hunt stuff down, I do have a kit put together for you guys, and I will link in the description where you can find that. So let me talk a little bit about what's included in the kit and what's not. So included in the kit are the things in front of me. So you will get some bubble wrap. Now in the kit I have laid out enough for you to make a 6 foot long scarf. Now that it's a 6 foot working area, 6 foot by 12 inches. Now that does not mean that your scarf will be 6 foot by 12 inches because there will always be shrinkage. So first of all, you will get 6 feet by 12 inches of bubble wrap, and then you will get roughly 6 feet by 14 inches of this nylon tulle or nylon mesh, and you'll receive 2 pieces of that, and I'll explain why in a minute or two here. And then you will get a pool noodle, some rubber bands to bind your project while we are felting it, and then you will get a spray bottle. The water obviously is not included. I'm sure you have water in your own home. If not, let me know. Some things that are not included in the kit that you'll need just some dish soap. I personally like to go with something that's a little bit more natural because Dawn soap has a tendency to gunk up natural fibers and whatnot. If you can actually get a wool wash, not necessarily a scour, but a wool wash, something that'll foam, that would probably be even better. But for this video, I'm going to just be using 7th generation dish liquid. And then you will need an old towel as well. So in this video, I am going to show you how to make a scarf using three different processed fibers. So I will show you how to make a scarf using a braid, a bat, and also using some just clouded fiber, just straight unprocessed. Okay, so I have 3 different fiber types here. Now this is the braid, and like with the commercial cone top, this is going to probably be the easiest way to do it. However, it's also limiting, and I will explain more about that in just a second. The second type that I use is bats. Now bats are really super easy if you're not using a braid, but this one probably gives you the most freedom. You can make a cobweb scarf, or you can make a fully thick scarf without any holes in it. The cobweb scarves are really cool looking, but if you don't want any of the decorative like holes and whatnot, the bats are really, really nice for that. And then the third method is just using straight up fiber. So I'm personally choosing to use an alpaca fiber just because there's no lanolin in it, but you can pull out some washed wool as well. Before we start, let's lay out our workspace. Let me just set this aside for a second here. Now, I like to personally put my towel down first. Now, this towel will not expand the full length of my scarf, but I'll just have to work with it because most towels are kind of come in a standard size. And let's go ahead and take our bubble wrap and let's set some of this stuff off to the side for a second. And my table is barely long enough. My table is exactly 6 feet. And then we'll take our nylon mesh. Now, this is how I personally lay mine out. Some people will only use one piece of tulle or one piece of mesh. I like to use two because on the one hand, I like to have this mesh layer between my fiber and my bubble wrap, because sometimes when you're felting a specific fiber type, you get the actual texture of the bubble wrap felted into your scarf. So you'll have like little dots and stuff because the fiber goes in between all the bubbles and felts, which is a really cool texture if you're going for that. But if it's not what you want, then you kind of want to have this down. And you know, you can freely experiment with all of this. Now, the reason why I go for a top one as well is when I have a lighter fiber and I'm trying to spray it down or wet down the fiber and everything. Sometimes either the fiber will blow around from the spray bottle or it shifts, and this just kind of keeps everything in place, especially if you're doing embellishments, which I will have a section in this video if you want to add some locks or you want to add some yarn and whatnot to your scarf. So I'm going to set this aside just for now. At this point, we are going to want to add some dish liquid into our spray bottle. Now, you can be pretty generous with this. I personally like to put water in my bottle first, just because otherwise if you put the soap in, you'll get all the suds and whatnot, and it's hard to fill the water all the way up, and you will probably use all of this and may need to even refill as you go along. I like to sop the project down pretty good so that there's lots of lubrication so the fibers can just felt and not, because if the fiber isn't wet, it won't felt as well. So, and then once you have your fiber down and your mesh on top and you've wetted everything down, I have the pool noodle just because it kind of helps keep the project in place and you don't get such a bunching right at the beginning. So if you were to just roll this up as is, this beginning part would be rolled really tight in comparison to the other side. So this just kind of helps even that out a little bit. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started with our braid.